The invitation arrived by mail on a Tuesday afternoon. Thick cardstock, elegant calligraphy, my father's 65th birthday celebration at the country club. I was reading it while my daughter Emma played with blocks on the floor of my home office. "Mommy, look. I made a castle." "That's beautiful, sweetie." I scanned the invitation details. Cocktail hour at 6 p.m., dinner at 7, dancing afterward. Then I saw the note at the bottom, written in my mother's handwriting. "Adults only event, children not permitted." I read it 3 times to make sure I understood correctly. I was a single mother. My daughter was 4 years old. Adults only meant I couldn't attend my own father's birthday party. My phone rang. Mom's number. "Did you get the invitation?" she asked without preamble. I did. "Adults only. The venue has a policy. No children under 12. Your father specifically chose it because he wants an elegant, sophisticated evening. You understand. So I'm not invited because I have a daughter. You're invited. You just can't bring Emma. I'm sure you can find a babysitter for one evening." I looked at Emma, who was now adding a tower to her castle, her tongue sticking out in concentration. I'd been a single parent since she was 6 months old. Her father had disappeared the moment he found out I was pregnant. I'd built my entire life around being both mother and father to her, working from home so I'd never miss a moment of her childhood. "Mom, I don't have family here to watch her. I don't have a regular babysitter. And I'm not comfortable leaving a 4-year-old with a stranger so I can attend a party." "Then I suppose you'll have to miss it. It's just one evening, Jessica. Your father's birthday only comes once a year. Emma is his granddaughter. She exists all year round. Don't be dramatic. This is a special occasion for adults. Surely you can make arrangements." "I can't. So I won't be there." Silence. "Then, you're choosing to prioritize your child over your father's milestone birthday. That's really the statement you want to make." "I'm not making a statement. I'm being a parent. Which apparently isn't something you understand. Don't take that tone with me." I hung up. 3 minutes later, a text from Dad. "Your mother said you're refusing to come to my birthday. Real mature, Jessica. We don't need your drama anyway." I stared at the message. My drama. The drama of being a single mother trying to raise a child while building a business. The drama of not having family support. The drama of existing in a way that inconvenienced their elegant, sophisticated evening. I typed back, "Have a wonderful party." Then I returned to work. I had a company to prepare for an IPO, and unlike my father's birthday party, that actually mattered. My family had no idea what I did for a living. They knew I worked from home and did something with apps. They knew I was a single mother who'd gotten pregnant irresponsibly, and now had to deal with the consequences. What they didn't know, I was the founder and CEO of SecureNet Technologies, a cybersecurity firm that had grown from my apartment to a company with 340 employees and $280 million in annual revenue. We protected the data infrastructure for 1,200 enterprise clients, including 47 Fortune 500 companies. Our proprietary encryption algorithms were considered the gold standard in the industry. And in 3 days on Thursday we were going public. The IPO was projected to value SecureNet at $3.2 billion. I personally owned 42% of the company, which would make me worth approximately $1.34 billion the moment the stock started trading. I'd founded SecureNet when I was 6 months pregnant, working from my apartment while dealing with morning sickness and prenatal appointments. The idea had come from my previous job at a major tech company, where I'd identified massive vulnerabilities in enterprise security systems. When my employer ignored my warnings, I'd quit and started building solutions myself. Those first 2 years had been brutal. I'd worked while Emma napped, coded through the night while she slept, took client calls with a baby on my hip. I'd had no help from family, no understanding, no support. Just judgment about my poor choices and difficult situation. But I'd built something extraordinary. By Emma's second birthday, SecureNet had 12 employees and $8 million in revenue. By her third birthday, we'd grown to 60 employees and $45 million in revenue. By her fourth birthday, now, we were preparing for an IPO that would make us one of the most successful cybersecurity companies in the world. My family knew none of this because I'd stopped trying to explain it years ago. The breaking point had come when Emma was 18 months old. I'd called home excited to share that we'd just signed a $12 million contract with a major bank. "That's nice, honey," Mom had said absently. "Have you thought about going back to school? Maybe getting a teaching degree? Something more stable for Emma's sake." "Mom, I just told you I signed a $12 million contract. The company is doing incredibly well. But working from home with a baby, that can't be sustainable. You need benefits, retirement, security. This app thing is fine as a side project, but you need to think about Emma's future." "I am thinking about Emma's future. I'm building a company that will." "You're being stubborn. Just because you made one mistake doesn't mean you have to make another. Get a real job, meet a nice man, give Emma a stable home life." I'd hung up and never tried to share my success again. For 3 years I'd built SecureNet while my family thought I was barely getting by. They assumed I was struggling financially, that I was stressed and overwhelmed, that I was paying the price for my irresponsible pregnancy. They had no idea I was building an empire. The IPO was scheduled for Thursday morning. On Monday, the Wall Street Journal had requested an exclusive interview and feature. They wanted to profile me as part of their series on unconventional paths to billion-dollar success. The journalist Patricia Morrison had been fascinated by my story. Single mother, no family support, building a cybersecurity giant from an apartment while raising a baby alone. "The narrative is incredibly compelling," she'd said during our phone interview. "You're about to become one of the youngest female billionaires in tech. You did it while being a single mother. And you built a company that's actually profitable, not just venture capital funded hype. This is a huge story. I just want to make sure the focus is on the company and the technology, not just the personal drama," I'd said. "The technology is part of the story. But so is you. The fact that you built this while being dismissed by your own family, while having no support system, while proving that single mothers can be exceptional entrepreneurs. That matters. It inspires people." She'd asked about my family dynamics. I'd been honest. They didn't understand what I did, didn't support my choices, didn't have a relationship with Emma. I'd mentioned the birthday invitation as an example. "Your father uninvited you from his 65th birthday because you have a daughter?" Patricia had repeated, incredulous. 3 days before your company goes public? "He doesn't know about the IPO. None of them do." "Why not?" "Because I stopped trying to make them understand years ago. It wasn't worth the energy." Patricia had been quiet for a moment. "Would you mind if we included that in the story? The timing is almost poetic. Excluded from the family celebration right before achieving extraordinary success. Include whatever you think is relevant to the story." The interview had been scheduled to publish on Thursday morning, the same day as the IPO. But Patricia had called me on Monday evening with a request. "Jessica, we want to do something different. We want to send a photographer to your father's house on Wednesday, the day before the IPO, to get his reaction to learning about your success. It would be a powerful visual element. He's going to be furious that he wasn't told. Is that a concern for you?" I thought about the birthday invitation. About 3 years of dismissal and judgment. About every time I tried to share my success and been told to get a real job. "No," I said. "It's not a concern. Do what you think is best for the story." Wednesday morning I had breakfast with Emma and reviewed the final IPO documents. Everything was in order. The roadshow had been successful, the investor interest was strong, the pricing was optimal. Tomorrow morning, SecureNet Technologies would begin trading on Nasdaq under the ticker symbol SNT. "Mommy, why are you smiling?" Emma asked through a mouthful of pancakes. "Because tomorrow is a very special day for Mommy's work." "Can I come to work with you?" "You always come to work with me, sweetie. We work together, remember?" She beamed. This was our routine. Emma played in my office while I worked, we had lunch together, she napped while I took important calls. I designed my entire company around being present for her childhood. My executives knew that 3 p.m. was Emma's snack time, that meetings couldn't run past 6 p.m. because that was dinner and bedtime routine. My COO Marcus had once asked if I worried about being taken seriously as a CEO with a child in the office. "Anyone who doesn't take me seriously because I'm actively parenting while running a multi-million-dollar company isn't someone I need to impress," I'd replied. At 10:30 a.m. my phone rang. "Patricia Morrison. Jessica, I wanted to give you a heads up. Our photographer just arrived at your father's house. We're doing the interview now." I thought you should know in case he tries to contact you. Thank you for the warning. 15 minutes later my phone started ringing. Dad's number. Then Mom's. Then my brother's. I sent them all to voicemail and returned to reviewing the IPO prospectus. At 11 a.m. my head of security James called. Miss Chen, we have a situation. Your father is at the building lobby demanding to see you. He's quite agitated. How would you like me to handle it? He's not on the approved visitor list, correct? Correct. Then handle it according to protocol. No unauthorized visitors. Understood. He's insisting this is a family emergency. It's not. Thank you, James. I hung up and looked at Emma, who was coloring at the small table in my office. Who was that, Mommy? Just work stuff, baby. Nothing important. The Wall Street Journal article published online at 6 p.m. Wednesday evening, 12 hours before the IPO. The headline was perfect. The Billion-Dollar Mom. How Jessica Chen built a cybersecurity empire while being a single parent, and why her family never knew. The article was comprehensive and powerful. Patricia had interviewed my employees, who spoke about my leadership and the family-friendly culture I'd created. She'd interviewed clients who praised SecureNet's technology. She'd talked to industry analysts who called the IPO one of the most anticipated cybersecurity offerings in years. But the most compelling part was the family angle. Patricia had included the full context. My pregnancy, my ex-boyfriend's abandonment, my family's judgment and lack of support. She detailed how I'd built the company while my family assumed I was struggling. She'd included quotes from my previous interviews about being dismissed and compared to my successful siblings. And she'd included the birthday invitation story. Just 3 days before her company's $3.2 billion IPO, Chen received an invitation to her father's 65th birthday party with a note. Adults only, children not permitted. As a single mother, this effectively uninvited her from the celebration. Her father's text response when she explained she couldn't attend, "We don't need your drama." The article included photos of me in my office with Emma, working at my computer while she played nearby. The images were warm and humanizing. A successful CEO who was also a devoted mother. And then there was the photo from Wednesday morning. The Wall Street Journal photographer at my father's door, his face captured in the moment of realization as Patricia explained who his daughter actually was. The caption read, "Robert Chen learns that his daughter, whom he uninvited from his birthday party, is about to become a billionaire CEO." His expression in the photo was priceless. Shock, confusion, and dawning horror. The article concluded, when asked if she planned to reconcile with her family now that her success was public, Chen's response was telling. "I've been successful for 3 years. They just didn't notice. That tells me everything I need to know about what their pride is really based on." Within an hour of publication, the article had been shared 50,000 times. By 9 p.m. it was trending on Twitter. By 10 p.m., every major business publication had picked up the story. My phone was flooded with messages, from investors, from press, from well-wishers, and from family. I ignored the family messages and focused on what mattered, tomorrow's IPO. Thursday morning I woke at 5 a.m. Emma was still asleep, so I sat in the quiet of my apartment and watched the pre-market analysis. CNBC was covering the SecureNet IPO extensively, with a segment about the single mother CEO who'd built a cybersecurity empire. The Wall Street Journal article had made me a story. Not just a business story, but a human interest story that resonated with millions of working parents, single mothers, and anyone who'd ever been dismissed by their family. The stock was set to begin trading at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, pricing at $45 per share. If the market responded as analysts predicted, it would open much higher. I made breakfast for Emma, got her dressed, and headed to the office. Today was special. Emma would be there when we rang the opening bell via video link to Nasdaq. At 9:15 a.m. I stood in our conference room surrounded by my executive team. Emma sat on my hip, wearing a special SecureNet IPO Day t-shirt that my employees had made for her. The Nasdaq video link was live, showing the trading floor in New York. "Mommy, what's happening?" Emma asked. "Something very special, baby. Mommy's company is becoming public, which means lots of people can be part of what we've built." "That's good. That's very good." At 9:30 a.m. exactly, I pressed the button to ring the opening bell. Emma helped me, her small hand on top of mine. The sound echoed through the Nasdaq exchange and SecureNet Technologies began trading. The stock opened at $67, 49% above the IPO price. Within 10 minutes, it hit $72. By 10 a.m., it had reached $78. My employees cheered. Champagne was poured. Emma clapped because everyone else was clapping, not quite understanding but caught up in the excitement. Marcus approached with a laptop showing the real-time valuation. Jessica, at current trading price, the company is valued at $4.1 billion. Your stake is worth $1.72 billion. I stared at the number. $1.72 billion. I was a billionaire. A single mother who'd been uninvited from her father's birthday party was now worth nearly $2 billion. Mommy, why are you crying? Emma asked, touching my face. Happy tears, baby. Very happy tears. My phone had been buzzing continuously all morning. Messages from investors, from press, from industry colleagues. And from family, dozens of missed calls and texts that I hadn't opened. At 11 a.m., Patricia Morrison called. Jessica, congratulations. The market response is incredible. And the article. It's the most read piece in Wall Street Journal history. Over 2 million shares. The response has been overwhelming. Thank you for telling my story accurately. There's been some criticism of how we handled the family angle. Your father has been giving interviews claiming he had no idea you were successful, that you deliberately hid it from them. That's categorically false. I know. I have the recordings of our interviews where you detailed trying to share your success. But the narrative he's pushing, the hurt father who was excluded from his daughter's triumph, it's getting traction in some circles. Let him push whatever narrative he wants. The truth is in your article. Anyone who reads it will understand what actually happened. Do you want to respond publicly? No. I have a company to run and a daughter to raise. I don't have time for family drama. The first week after the IPO was chaos. Press interviews, investor meetings, internal celebrations. The stock stabilized at $74 per share, giving SecureNet a market cap of $3.9 billion and making my personal stake worth $1.64 billion. I was invited to speak at conferences, featured in magazine profiles, approached by organizations wanting me to be a spokesperson for single mothers in business. I accepted some opportunities and declined others, always prioritizing Emma's schedule and our time together. My family's attempts to contact me intensified. They'd progressed from phone calls to emails to showing up at my office building where security turned them away, to sending letters. Dad's letter arrived on day 6. Jessica, I don't know where to begin. The Wall Street Journal article was the first time I learned about SecureNet's success. I had no idea you built a billion-dollar company. If I had known, of course I would have been supportive. Of course I would have been proud. The birthday invitation wasn't meant to hurt you. It was a venue policy, nothing personal. The fact that this happened right before your IPO, the timing makes it look deliberate, but it wasn't. It was just unfortunate. I'm your father. I love you. I want to be part of your life and Emma's life. Please call me so we can discuss this like adults. That. I read the letter twice, then filed it away without responding. Mom's letter was more emotional. Jessica, I've been crying for days. The Wall Street Journal painted me as a terrible mother, someone who didn't support her daughter. That's not true. I always wanted the best for you. I was worried about you as a single mother, worried you weren't stable enough financially. If I had known about SecureNet's success, I never would have suggested you get a teaching degree. Emma is my granddaughter. I want to know her. I want to be in her life. Please don't punish her for my mistakes. My brother Ryan sent a text. I get that you're mad, but this public humiliation is really hurting Mom and Dad. They're devastated. The whole family is talking about it. Can we just move past this? I finally responded to Ryan. I'm not humiliating anyone. I'm running my company and raising my daughter. The fact that the Wall Street Journal accurately reported our family dynamic isn't my fault or my problem. You could have told them not to publish that stuff about the birthday party. Why would I do that? It's what happened. It's the truth. Because it makes them look bad. They should have thought about that before uninviting me from Dad's birthday 3 days before my IPO. They didn't know about the IPO. They didn't know because they never bothered to ask about my life. That's not my failure. That's theirs. He didn't respond after that. By the 1-month mark, the media frenzy had calmed. SecureNet was performing well as a public company, the stock had stabilized, and I'd settled into the new reality of being a public figure. Emma had adjusted remarkably well. She understood that mommy was famous, now that people recognized us sometimes, that we had security accompanying us to the park. She took it all in stride the way 4-year-olds do, with curiosity and adaptability. One evening, after putting Emma to bed, I sat down with the stack of family letters that had accumulated. There were 14 of them, from parents, from Ryan, from aunts and uncles, even from cousins I barely knew. They all said variations of the same thing. We didn't know. We're sorry. We want to be part of your life. Please give us another chance. I called my lawyer Michelle. I need your advice on something personal, I said. The family situation? How did you know? Jessica, you're all over the news. And the family angle is the most compelling part of the story. What's the question? They want a relationship. They're apologizing, saying they didn't know, asking for another chance. What should I do? What do you want to do? I don't know. Part of me wants to tell them it's too late, that they had years to support me and chose not to. Part of me thinks Emma deserves grandparents, even if they're imperfect. Those are both valid feelings. What would a relationship look like? I don't know. That's the problem. They weren't there when I needed them. They judged me, dismissed me, offered no help with Emma. Now that I'm successful enough to be impressive, they want in. Feels transactional. It probably is transactional. At least partly. People are complicated. They can genuinely regret their past behavior while also being motivated by your current success. Both things can be true. So what do I do? You set boundaries. You decide what you're willing to give and what you're not. You make it clear that any relationship is on your terms, not theirs. And you watch to see if their actions match their words over time. That sounds exhausting. It is. But Emma is 4. She'll have questions about grandparents as she gets older. You need to decide what story you want to tell her about why they're not in her life, or what kind of relationship you're building with them. After we hung up, I sat with that thought. What story did I want to tell Emma? I agreed to meet my parents. Just them, no Ryan, no extended family. Neutral location, a coffee shop near my office. 2 hours clearly defined. They arrived 10 minutes early. I arrived exactly on time. Mom's eyes were red from crying. Dad looked older, diminished somehow. We sat. They ordered coffee. I ordered water. Thank you for meeting us, Mom said. We weren't sure you would. I'm here for Emma. She's going to have questions about grandparents someday. I need to be able to tell her I tried. Dad flinched. We want to be grandparents. We want to know her. You've had 4 years to want that. You've never asked to meet her. Never sent a gift. Never acknowledged her existence except to view her as my mistake or my drama. We were wrong, Mom said quickly. We were so wrong. We were judgmental and unsupportive, and we missed everything important about your life. Yes, you did. We want to make it right. You can't make it right. You can't give me back the years when I was building SecureNet alone, exhausted with no family support. You can't give Emma back the grandparents who should have been there for her first steps, her first words, her first birthday. Those moments are gone. Dad's voice was rough. Then what can we do? You can be honest about why you're here. Is it because you genuinely want a relationship with your granddaughter? Or is it because your friends saw the Wall Street Journal article and you're embarrassed that you didn't know your daughter was a billionaire? Silence. Both, Dad finally said. It's both. We're ashamed we didn't know. We're humiliated by how the article portrayed us. But we also genuinely wish we'd been there. We missed so much and we're devastated by that. I appreciated the honesty. At least you're not lying. What do we need to do? Mom asked. To earn a place in Emma's life? You start by understanding that any relationship is on my terms. You don't get to show up when it's convenient and disappear when it's not. You don't get to criticize my parenting or my choices. You don't get to treat Emma like a prop to rehabilitate your image. We understand. Do you? Because for 4 years, you've treated me like a failure. Now that I'm publicly successful, you want a relationship that tells me your love is conditional. And I need to know that Emma won't experience that same conditional approval. We love you, Mom said, tears streaming now. We always have. We were scared for you. Single mother, no partner, building a business. It seemed unstable. We wanted you to have security. I built security. $1.6 billion worth of it. I did it without you. We know. We're so proud of you. Are you proud of me? Or are you proud of the version of me that the Wall Street Journal validated? Because I was doing the exact same work last year when you suggested I get a teaching degree. Dad set down his coffee. You're right. Our pride is tainted by the timing. By the public validation. We should have been proud 3 years ago, 2 years ago, last year. We should have asked questions, paid attention, supported you. We didn't. That's our failure. Yes. It is. Can you forgive us? I thought about it carefully. I don't know. Forgiveness isn't automatic. It's earned through changed behavior over time. What I can offer is a probationary relationship. You can meet Emma. You can be in her life, carefully and with boundaries. But you're on probation. One criticism of my parenting, one dismissive comment, one indication that you're here for the wrong reasons and you're out. Permanently. We'll do anything, Mom said. Then prove it. Not with words. With consistent, genuine effort. Starting now. The relationship with my parents was fragile but progressing. They'd met Emma and, to their credit, had been wonderful with her. Patient, engaged, genuinely interested in her world. They came to her preschool play, her park playdates, her swimming lessons. They asked about SecureNet with what seemed like genuine curiosity. Dad had started reading cybersecurity news to understand my industry better. Mom had attended one of my speaking engagements and cried during the part where I talked about building the company while being a single mother. It wasn't perfect. There were awkward moments, slips into old patterns, comments that revealed their lingering discomfort with my unconventional path. But they were trying. Really trying. Ryan and I had started talking again too. He'd apologized for the public humiliation comment and admitted he'd been jealous of the attention my success was getting. I've been working my ass off in finance for 10 years and I'm nowhere near where you are, he'd said. It's hard to watch. I worked my ass off too, I'd replied. Just in a different way. And I had a child while doing it. This didn't come easy. I know. I'm sorry I didn't see it. Emma's 5th birthday party was the test. I invited my parents, Ryan, and a few family members. They all came. They brought thoughtful gifts. They engaged with the other parents. They treated me with respect. Dad's speech before we cut the cake made me cry. I want to thank my daughter Jessica for letting us be part of this celebration. 5 years ago when Emma was born, I failed as a father and grandfather. I judged instead of supporting. I criticized instead of celebrating. I missed the first years of my granddaughter's life and I missed watching my daughter build something extraordinary. I can't get those years back, but I'm grateful for the chance to be here now. Emma, your mom is the strongest, smartest, most capable person I know. And you're lucky to have her. We all are. After the party, Mom pulled me aside. I know we're still on probation. But I want you to know, I'm proud of you. Not because you're a billionaire. Not because you were in the Wall Street Journal. But because you're an incredible mother, an innovative entrepreneur, and a person who had the strength to build a life without our support. That takes courage I'm not sure I would have had. Thank you for saying that. I mean it. And I'm sorry it took public validation for me to see it. That's my failure, not yours. The Forbes feature came out on the 1-year anniversary of the IPO. The billion-dollar mom. 1 year later, detailed SecureNet's continued success. The stock had risen to $94 per share, making the company worth $5.1 billion and my stake worth $2.14 billion. But the article focused more on what I'd built beyond the business. The family-friendly workplace culture, the scholarship program for single mothers pursuing STEM degrees, the childcare center at our headquarters. Chin hasn't just built a successful company, the article concluded. She's built a model for how women, particularly mothers, can thrive in tech without sacrificing family. Her office has a play area. Her executives know that 3 p.m. is snack time. Her board meetings accommodate school pickups. And her company is thriving because of it, not in spite of it. The article included a photo of me and Emma at the headquarters, her sitting on my lap during a video call. The caption, CEO Jessica Chin with her daughter Emma, who's been part of SecureNet since day one. My parents framed that photo and put it on their mantle. Right next to a photo from Emma's 5th birthday party. 3 generations together, smiling, trying to build something new. Dad called after the Forbes piece published. I've been thinking about the Wall Street Journal article from last year. The one that started all this. What about it? I was humiliated when it came out. Angry that you'd shared our family problems publicly. But I've realized, it was the wake-up call I needed. Without that public exposure, I might never have acknowledged how badly I'd failed you. So thank you. You're thanking me for humiliating you? I'm thanking you for forcing me to see the truth. And for giving me a chance to do better afterward. That evening, I sat with Emma while she did her kindergarten homework. Tracing letters, practicing numbers. Mommy, Grandma said she's sorry she missed my baby years. She told you that? Yeah. She said she made a mistake and she's glad she gets to be here now. What mistake did she make? I thought carefully about how to answer. Sometimes grown-ups don't understand important things right away. Grandma and Grandpa didn't understand how special you were when you were a baby. But they understand now. That's okay. I'm still special. I hugged her. You're the most special person in the world to me. And you're a billion mom. $1 billion mom, baby. But yes. That's a lot of dollars. It is. And you know what? Mommy earned every single one of them while being your mom. That's the best part. She went back to tracing letters, already moving on to the next thing. 4-year-old, now 5-year-old, resilience. I watched her and thought about the journey. From pregnant and alone to billionaire CEO, from family disappointment to Forbes cover, from uninvited to my father's birthday to building a new relationship with my parents. The success wasn't the vindication. The money wasn't the victory. The victory was Emma. Happy, secure, confident, growing up watching her mother build something meaningful. The victory was proving that single mothers could be exceptional entrepreneurs. The victory was creating a workplace where other parents didn't have to choose between career and family the way society told them they must. And maybe, just maybe, the victory was also in giving my parents the chance to see their mistake and do better. Not because they deserved it, but because Emma deserved grandparents and I deserved to model grace and boundaries in equal measure. 2 years after the IPO, I gave a commencement address at my alma mater. Emma sat in the front row with my parents, watching her mom speak to 5,000 graduates. When I got pregnant at 26, I told them, everyone told me it was a mistake that would derail my career. When I decided to keep my baby and raise her alone, people said I was being irresponsible. When I started a company from my apartment while caring for an infant, my own family suggested I get a teaching degree instead. I paused, looking at Emma. She waved. I waved back. I'm not here to tell you that any of that was easy. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. But I'm here to tell you that other people's definitions of success, of responsibility, of what's possible, they don't have to be your definitions. You get to write your own story. After the speech, a young woman approached me. She was visibly pregnant. Miss Chen, I'm 3 months pregnant. My boyfriend left. My parents want me to give up the baby for adoption so I can focus on my career. I don't know what to do. I thought about myself at her age, scared, alone, determined. What do you want to do? I want to keep my baby. But everyone says I'm ruining my life. Your life isn't ruined. It's different from what you planned, but different doesn't mean ruined. I built a billion-dollar company while being a single mom. You can build whatever matters to you. It won't be easy. But it's possible. He started crying. Thank you. Everyone else is telling me what I can't do. You're the first person who said I can. After she left, Dad approached. That was kind of you. That was me 6 years ago. I wish someone had told me it was possible. I should have told you it was possible. Yes, you should have. But you're here now. That counts for something. Emma tugged on my sleeve. Mommy, can we get ice cream? Absolutely. Grandpa, you coming? I'd love to. We walked across campus together. 3 generations, imperfect but trying, building something new from the broken pieces of what was. My phone buzzed. A text from my CFO. Stock hit $112. Company worth $6.2 billion. Your stake, $2.6 billion. Congratulations, boss. I smiled and put my phone away. The numbers were impressive. The wealth was life-changing. But this, walking through campus with my daughter and my father, getting ice cream together, being present for small moments, this was the real success. I'd built an empire while being told I was making mistakes. I'd become a billionaire while being excluded from family celebrations. I'd proven that single mothers could be exceptional entrepreneurs. that unconventional paths could lead to extraordinary places, that other people's definitions of success were irrelevant. But the greatest achievement wasn't the company or the money or the public validation. It was Emma, happy, secure, confident, growing up knowing her mother had fought for her, built for her, created a world where she could thrive. Everything else was just numbers on a screen. This moment, this ice cream, this imperfect family trying to do better. This was everything.